Welcome to News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery.
Welcome to the West Texas View. I'm Johnny Lou Avery. Today we're talking about the Museum of the Southwest. This is one of the premier facilities in Midland that has a multitude of things for you to see and do as a family or as an individual or as a school group. And we're going to try to explore all of those things over the next 3 weeks, not only about the museum in general, but about all the exhibits and collections and activities and services, the planetarium, all kinds of things that you need to know, and particularly about the Children's Museum. And today our guest is Jenny Opalinsky, who is the Collections and Exhibits Manager for the Museum of the Southwest, and also Megan Ward, who is the Marketing Director. And I asked them to come and I want them to give us a kind of a general overview about the museum, and then the next week we're going to hear about the Children's Museum and then the Blakemore Planetarium. But Megan and Jenny, it's such a pleasure to have you here. And I want us to start by giving a little bit of information about you and how you got to the museum, and let us get to know you a little bit. Megan, start with you.
Well, I'm originally from Austin. I was born and raised there, but I went to Texas Tech. Fell in love with a Midland boy, and we decided to make West Texas our home. So ever since I moved here a little over a year ago, I've been at the Museum of the Southwest and really have just enjoyed every minute of it.
And the interesting thing is you came into this wonderful facility and now you're using cutting edge technology that you learned from Texas Tech. Did you do your internship here?
No, I didn't. I actually did it in Austin.
Oh, okay, great. All right, what about you, Jenny?
I attended Texas Tech as well, where I got my master's in museum science. And then I loved West Texas so much that I decided to move here as well in January. So I've been in Texas for about 3 years.
So we've got 2 Texas Tech people.
Yes, ma'am.
So your roots are deep here anyway. So whether you were born and raised out here in West Texas really doesn't matter now. But I want to, and Megan, maybe start with you and talk a little bit about the history of the museum, because I know this predates you a long time since it was started in 1966. But
it does. The museum is the Art Museum is housed in the historic Turner Mansion, which was donated by Mr. and Mrs. Turner's daughters, and they've continued to be very active, as have their generations after them. The families keep being there, and that museum itself is housed of 4 components. We have the sculpture garden, the Blakemore Planetarium, Durham Children's Museum is all a part of the Museum of the Southwest.
And that to keep growing, and I can understand why the Turner family is so involved in it, because the mansion makes such a beautiful showplace for everything you've got to offer.
It does, and it's a great place for families to get to come, and we always have a great time. It seems to be a favorite place for portraits and bridal portraits. So as an employee there, that's a really neat part to get to see everybody get to enjoy it on some level.
It's also really wonderful with the sculpture garden. It's outside, so people at any time of year can come tour the sculpture garden and have picnics and all sorts of fun activities outside.
Oh gosh, and we need to know more about that sculpture garden too, because it is one of the newer additions.
It's been growing over the years, and we actually have several pieces by Glenna Goodacre, who is a West Texas resident herself.
That's wonderful. Is she from Seminole? I've remembered about her, but
I know she lives in Lubbock currently.
Okay,
so
good.
She's very active in all of West Texas.
Well, I want you to talk a little bit more about the structure of the museum. Who funds it? I know so much of the things out there are just a small donation or a small charge.
We're funded by the city and the county, as well as just generous donations from all over the community, the Permian Basin, everywhere. And the Art Museum itself and the Sculpture Garden are both free. So, donations are very much appreciated. The Children's Museum and the Planetarium have very small fees for, even the planetarium shows themselves are incredibly reasonable.
And this is a nonprofit organization that has its own board of directors that keeps a vision going. You're constantly looking ahead of how you can change and grow and develop to meet the needs.
We are, and we always love to hear feedback from the public and find out what there is that they want to see and how we can better serve them.
That is wonderful information. But another thing that I think that we need to stress is that when people come, there's something for every age there.
There
for
really
families
is.
to come as a group. And
There is from the Children's Museum to, even has a room for toddlers, to exhibits, that go up and can interest, children through middle school. And then, the planetarium is great for all ages, as is the art museum. Right now we have an exhibit that's very interactive, that Jenny can probably talk a little bit more about, with the miniature paintings that the kids really seem to love.
So you've got really kind of a self-guided tour and interactive.
Yeah, we do. And what's great about the miniatures is there's very small paintings that are about 9 inches and smaller. And so what we've done is we've put out magnifying glasses, so that way all of the kids and their grandparents and their parents alike can go around from painting to painting and view the exquisite detail up close.
Oh,
so that's been really wonderful to watch as a family activity.
And to have something that the little kids feel like is their size.
It's very neat to watch how people of different ages interact and how they view the artwork differently and what they see.
And because education is your primary interest, it's so much fun to you to see the school groups or the the family groups come in. Talk a little bit more about the sculpture garden, because I love the sculpture garden.
The sculpture garden comprises of sculptures that are wood or granite or bronzes, things of that nature, and they're located all across our campus. And so we have a Galapagos turtle that sits right outside the Children's Museum on the checkerboard sidewalk, and as well as a bear called Panzón, which is Spanish for chubby, and he's right outside the Children's Museum. And then we have other larger sculptures that are just really great to stand in. They make a lot of shade, and they give you a different perspective of different things.
And so you even have children come there for their portraits too, don't you?
We do.
Well, I want you to talk a little bit about what was the idea behind the sculpture garden. Was that part of your long range planning, and somebody said we need to have it, or
it was?
Did it just kind of grow?
It started off slowly, but it's grown, and we wanted to give a place for people to enjoy the outdoors and the wonderful weather we have here.
We're going to have to take a break right now. We'll be back in just a minute and continue this conversation. And Jenny and Megan are going to give us a lot more information that you need to know for the rest of this summer. See you in just a minute.
Welcome back to West Texas View.